Hello, everybody, and welcome back to BAN-KAST. I know we took a little bit of an extra break there because of the new year, but we have two new episodes of Bleach. We have the two-part finale, I suppose, of Core 3. Episode 39, The Visible Answer, will be this episode, and the next episode is episode 40, My Last Words. Okay, so we're kicking off episode 39 in actually a kind of unique place. We're actually catching up with what's up with Uketake right now. Still not looking that good. You know what? I don't know if it's just me, but I'm starting to feel like the right hand of the Soul King is like beginning to devour his body. Like he probably still has a head, but like I wouldn't be surprised if his head and everything is beginning to dissolve as being absorbed into the right hand. So after Yuha Baha invades the Soul Palace in the manga, and, you know, the right hand comes up and tries to protect the Soul King, and Yuha just kind of rips it off and absorbs the power and destroys it, and then he absorbs the Soul King proper. We don't really get an update on Uketake after that. Not until, like, the epilogue when Shunsui is hanging out at Uketake's grave and is just kind of talking to him and everything, and then that's kind of what we get with Uketake. And then, of course, we get the Hell arc, which showcases where Uketake is right now. He's in Hell, and we see Sogyo no Kotowari, like the massive Zanpakuto, coming out of the gate of hell and stabbing Ciala Porogran. So we're going to find out more about that whenever the Hell arc resumes. But it's actually interesting to kind of like, yeah, this is still the state Uketake is in, except the power of the Mimihagi is still like it was ripped off of the Soul King. It's not there anymore. So we kind of pan up out of the 12th division and we see the sky. And we see right here that the power of the right hand has kind of been fragmented. Like, Yuha ripped it apart. So it's no longer going all the way up to the Soul Palace. It's just kind of, like, split up in the sky and sort of branching out. But it keeps on branching out to the point where it kind of resembles, like, a bunch of, like, birds in the sky, which this also kind of resembles, I think, one of the flashbacks we got with Yuha's birth, and like when he was like the miracle baby and we saw all the hands reaching up and the sky was all freaky and weird. Like, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. So it makes me think that in Core 4 we're gonna get something else with Uketake. Like, this is the thing that ultimately kills him and sends him to hell, you know, but like there's something else with the right arm's power here that doesn't seem to be completely gone, or maybe this is the indication that it's completely gone and it's like breaking apart, I guess, but this is not something we saw in the manga, so kind of interested in where we're going to go from there. So we have Yuha asleep in the throne room. This is something that is part of his ability. Even absorbing the Reo, even gaining this godly power, does not remove his basic abilities that he already had, like one of which was whenever he slumbers, the power flips and the Almighty goes to Hashwalt while he becomes the father of the Quincy's, while he returns. Like, the implication is he's going back to like his innocence, you know, his pure state where he's committed no sin and everything like that. Like, he passes on the mask of the ruler onto Hashwalt, and here he is just the kindly, peace-loving, just pure father of the Quincy's here, I suppose, right? So, yeah, that's still a thing. We get the opening credits. And we have Uryu here, staring at this giant orb. We saw Hashwolf staring at this a little while ago. I'm not sure what this is. I would assume, because this is not in the manga at all, but I would assume this is like the beginning of the new universe, or rather the return to the original universe. Remember, everything was mashed into one at one point. So the concepts of life and death didn't even exist before the Reo was like dismembered, and then those three realms, Hueco the living world, and the Soul Society, were forged. Before that, everything was one thing of like swirling chaos, life and death mixed together, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, that kind of stuff, right? And it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, and I think that's the whole point. It's kept deliberately, like, esoteric for a reason. Like, it's a different state of reality, a different state of being that you really can't understand because you're living in this state of being. But with the absorption of the Reo, and Yuha's original plan is to return the world to that state, I'm assuming this is like the seed of that. Like this is the origin point where, because the Hueco Mundo and everything still exist for right now. They're beginning to crumble, and there's like an ongoing like earthquake that's kind of happening through all realms at the same time as they're beginning to crumble apart. But this process is not instantaneous, so this is probably like the origin point, like, or like the progenitor of this brand new reality, which is the old reality. So Uryu's just kind of absorbing that, and then Hashwalt appears and says, "Ah, Uryu Ishida, while His Majesty sleeps, I become the Almighty. Do you not understand now, Uryu?" So Uryu sees this, and he kind of comes to the conclusion right away, like, oh, wait, Hashwalt has the power of the Almighty now. Therefore, Hashwalt can see the future. Therefore, he understands that Uryu is going to betray him, because turns out Uryu was actually a double agent this entire time. I guess. Okay, so we learn about this a little bit more in the next episode, and I'll cover that when we get to it. But yeah, let's talk about this for a moment. So the entire arc, like one big thing with Uryu's character is that he has now joined the Vandenreich. He has joined the Sternritter, and we're supposed to be like really torn up about that. Like, oh my god, Uryu, he's betrayed Ichigo and Chad and Orihime and the Soul Society, and now he's going to fight with the Sternritters. He's a bad guy now. Oh dear. Now, I will say this was handled way better in the anime up until now, because that fight that Uryu had with Ichigo was actually more visceral. Like, Uryu actually blasted a giant hole through Ichigo. Now, if Orihime wasn't there, that would be a problem. But, like, he actually did try to attempt to, like, kill Ichigo, rather than in the manga, he just kind of destroyed the floor they were standing on, and they fell down. And that was, like, apparently good enough for a lot of the Sternritter, except for Hashwalt, to basically be convinced that, like, oh yeah, Uryu's on our side now, right? So the problem with this from the beginning is that, yes, we understand that Uryu doesn't care for the Soul Reapers very much, especially Mayuri, considering everything that they did to the Quincy's and all that stuff, but we've kind of moved beyond the idea, by the time the 1,000-Year Blood War arc starts, we've moved beyond the idea that Uryu, like, hates Ichigo and would want to kill him and would want to, like, wipe out all of the Shinigami. Like, we've moved past that. Maybe, like, Uryu at the very beginning of the story, when he first meets Ichigo in the Substitute arc, like, I hate Soul Reapers for what they did to us and everything, but we're not really at that point, you know. Uryu, like, so when he becomes a member of the Sternritter, when we have that chapter, I think it was chapter, like, 541 or 542. It was, like, right after Ichigo got his Zanpakutos revealed. And we get the reveal that, oh, wait a minute, Uryu is now a member of the Sternritter. It sort of just rings hollow. It just sort of like, oh, okay, well, he's clearly a double agent. He's clearly not evil. He's either been brainwashed or he's doing this as subterfuge. Spoiler alert, he's doing it as subterfuge, all right? So, I don't know. I just feel like the idea that Yuha would have already known that is sort of like, yes, he did already know that, and it's kind of like part of his plan, like all according to Keikaku, I guess, with the idea of Yuha, you know, maybe the idea that, you know, once Uryu drinks the blood of Yuha, that sort of like manipulates him and makes him obey, but that's clearly not the case. It doesn't seem like Yuha or Hashwalt or anybody has like the ability to manipulate Uryu on that kind of level to like brainwash him to work for them. Uryu has been in control this entire time. He's just been playing the field. He's a double agent. And it just seems like the vast majority of the Sternritter just kind of believe him and just kind of go along with it, all right? And Hashwalt is like the only one that's like, I don't trust you, and no shit, he shouldn't, and this is where their encounter is going to be here. And Hashwalt has a moment like, why would you say that I would see your betrayal? Why would you even bring that up if you weren't going to betray us? It's like, yeah, obviously he was going to betray you. Like, I guess you have to also look at it from the perspective that we're reading the manga, so we know the whole story from start to finish, and the characters in the manga do not have that. So it's like, to us, it's super obvious that Uryu was a double agent, but maybe to the majority of the Sternritters, it's like, oh, hey, this weird guy showed up, and Yuha just made him his right-hand man as his successor, boxer all of a sudden. That's a little bit weird, but whatever. If Yuha said so, I guess we go with it, right? I suppose so. You know, but Hashwolf is like, oh, you must have admitted your guilt because you know you cannot hide from His Majesty's power. And, of course, we all know this is where this is going. This is just, you know, setting up for an awesome fight here. We see a brief glitch. We see a brief, like, flicker of power here between Hashwolf's eyes. We're going to cut back to that in a little bit because that might actually signify something there. Hashwolf does not have complete control over the Almighty, and we're going to learn that he doesn't have the exact same range of abilities that Yuha does when he has that power, okay? So he has the ability, but it's not like perfectly refined yet. Okay, so we're moving around a lot here. I mean, in the last episode, we cut way back like 20 chapters prior to the Friend chapters where Basby fought against Hashwolf. So now we're cutting back to, I think, this chapter, this scene right here, when Shinji and Kisuke's group run into Gerard Valkyrie for the first time. This occurred in the middle of Shunsui's fight with Lilje, and this is, you know, that scene here. So they finally reach the base of the Silburn Tower, and we have Rukia, we have Momo, we have Soifun, we have Kisuke, we have Byakuya. They're all there. Now, Renji would have originally have been here in the manga. He's going to show up in a moment. Gerard Valkyrie just rockets over from a different location and just jumps and lands right in front of their path. Gerard has a pretty shitty sense of direction. I don't know if it's as good or as bad as Zoro's from One Piece. Might even be worse than Zoro's. But he shows up here, and he's just like, oh, yeah. Kisuke's like, yeah, he sure jumped far. He jumped all the way over here. Man, that was pretty impressive. So Gerard is an awesome Viking-looking dude, and he's just like, intruders! You've done well to make it this far, but now you face the miracle! Gerard really does have the wrestling vibes, right? I mean, maybe even more so than Mask. We already had a wrestler in the Stern Ritter, sure. I want to see a wrestling match between Mask de Masculine and Gerard Valkyrie. Obviously, Mask is going to be the face because he's the superstar and all that, and he stomps out villainy. But Gerard Valkyrie, I think, could be a pretty good heel, I think. I think we'll be all right there. So Shinji is just like, we didn't come to you. You jumped and landed and, you know, just blocked our path. And anyway, this is as far as you go for I am the miracle. So Renji arrives here looking pretty fantastic. I mean, his Shihakusho is all cleaned up and freshly pressed. Everything is good. So, of course, the fight between Uryu and Renji does not occur in the manga. Renji is just with them right here. Renji uses Zabimaru to kind of, like, restrain Gerard really quick and, like, wrap around his arm and just like, you guys go ahead, I'll take care of this guy. Which also funny because Renji did fight Mask de Masculine earlier, so Renji's just into fighting like the wrestling promo type dudes. Big muscular guys like, oh yeah, Soul Reapers, you can't hope to get past me. I'm 440 pounds of miracle muscle, let's go. You know, like that's what Renji's deal is. But anyway, there's a brief, look at Rukia, yeah. You're fine, Renji, I worried about you. I hope we can get married in the next core. Don't worry, Rukia. I already made wedding plans. We're good, girl. Yay! Yay! We're gonna get Rukia and Renji's wedding in the next one, and I'm really excited for that. Okay, so we get the flashback here of what exactly happened, and it actually makes perfect sense. Like, this isn't even something that, like, pulled out of their ass for how the fuck Renji survived this, because Uryu had him beaten down pretty bad. He locked him in that, like, Ryatsu Faraday cage and, like, shocked and, you know, stabbed all of his Ryatsu, drained it out of him. Renji had one final attempt at a Bankai, and it just didn't work, and Uryu left him there for dead. But it's okay, because the Vizards are there. So, like, the Vizards, upon first arriving, like Hiyori, Love, and Hachi, Mashiro, I guess, as well, as soon as they arrived in the Varvelt, they kind of split up into separate groups. So it was Shunsui's group with Kisuke and everybody that was getting sniped by Lilje. So, like, Marechio got shot, and Sentaro, and Isane, and Kione, and Shuhei, obviously, they all got shot and died. Yeah, they all got shot and died. Yeah, they're all dead right now. We're not going to see them anymore. But the Vizards went off and did other things, right? And, of course, Hachi is there, and Hachi is the former vice captain of the Kido Corps under Tessai, so he's got really good healing abilities. And so that actually makes perfect sense that Hachi could be a healer here. But he also mentions that, like, oh, yeah, the wound is very clean, so, like, I should be able to, you know, heal heal this. The implication is, of course, like, Uryu left a very clean attack when he locked him in the Faraday cage and stabbed him with all the arrows and sucked out all of his Ryatsu. He did that very cleanly. He missed all of the vital organs. All of them? Yes, all of them. So Hachi just uses his Keto, the giant Keto blocks, to heal up Renji, and there you go. I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's perfectly good. His ability is not as strong as Orihime, but it is kind of similar. Remember when when Tsubaki, one of Orihime's Shun Rika, was damaged, she couldn't quite repair it. Hachi kind of helped her do that. But their abilities are similar enough, so yeah, Renji would be healed up there, no problem. And Shinji is like, okay, cool, great. So you're here. Can we just leave this guy to you? And Renji's like, of course. And this is an ability that Gerard uses to make sure they can't all pass him. Like, he knocks away Renji, and it's like, who did you think? This was just going to be a one-on-one fight? I'm fighting all of you. You're not getting past me. And then he just extends his cape. Now, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You could say it's a Ryatsu cape. He just manipulates the Ryatsu of his cape and just molds it to make it bigger. I just love this ability. It's just so kind of silly that, like, they're trying to run past him. They can't fly, so he just makes, like, a giant, like, fence with his cape, and he's like, my magical size increasing cape, you can't hope to get past me. And Gerard says, you know, it's not a one-on-one battle, I'm fighting all of you, and even a miracle won't be able to save you. So given what we're gonna see from Gerard Valkyrie's script, his letter M, the miracle, his ability basically works the best when he's extremely outnumbered and just gets a shitload of damage really fast. So it's actually in his best interest to not fight one-on-one, because that might be a more even keel fight, and the miracle might not be able to be utilized to its fullest extent. So he's basically just like, yeah, you guys should all rush me at once. In fact, you should all use like your final ultimate Bankai high octane attacks and just bombard me all at once. Deal as much damage as possible, because that's when I really get the full return of my ability, right? So now we cut back to Askin. And Askin was fighting Ichigo there. He took down Grimmjow, then Ichigo showed up, and they fought for a little bit there, and it seemed like Ichigo was slightly resistant to the death dealing, but now we see that Ichigo is on the ground, and Askin is now going through his little, like, moment where he's just talking about the other Sternritters. He's just like, so you want me to talk about the Elite Guard? Like, okay. Anyway, first is Lil J. Lil J was the first Quincy that His Majesty gave a script to, which, by the way, how does that work exactly? Because, so, well, once again, going back to the whole timeline thing, I know I did this a lot in the last episode. I'll make it brief. We know that Basby and everybody was a Sternritter back like 1,000 years ago. Not everybody, but we know Basby was a Sternritter 1,000 years ago. Did Basby have the script of the letter H 1,000 years ago? Because it seems like Lil J is from a more modern time period. Like, he has a modern gun as his weapon, diagram, and it just seems like he's from the present era. And we know some of the Sternritter are. Like, we know Asnote is from the present world because he was in, like, a modern-day hospital when Yuha found him. And we know Royd and Lloyd were born in a modern hospital, so they're not from 1,000 years ago. They're from, like, around this time period. So how does this work with Lil J getting the first script? I don't know. It's always, like, the timeline kind of seemed a little bit strange to me, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, Pernida and Gerard are a little different because they had their abilities prior to becoming Sternritter. Now, Pernida being the left arm of the Soul King, that is kind of a power scale, a power system into its own right. So, you know, Yuha just gave Pernida the ability C, the compulsory, like, assigning the script more of, like, honorarily afterwards. It just kind of lines up with the ability, right? Now, Gerard is a little different, because Gerard's ability also was there beforehand and was mentioned to be the heart of the Soul King. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, I haven't read Can't For Your Own World. Really should at this point. But I think from what I've read around in, like, the theory pools and everything on the internet, there's some ideas that Gerard is not, like, the literal heart of the Soul King. It's more of just, like, a figure of speech there for his abilities. However, there is this actually one scene here they kind of flash back and show when Shutara was fighting against Gerard at the end of the last core, where she goes to stab him in the heart, and his heart just kind of glows and, like, knocks her back. So it seems to be taken literally here, that, like, his heart literally is the heart of the Soul King, like the body part, like just like how the arms and legs were ripped off, the heart was also gouged out and ended up in Gerard at some point, right? So that's how that goes there. So Askin is talking about there's rumors, abound about their abilities and what Pernita and Gerard even are and where their abilities come from and everything, so we're not really sure about that. Seems strange, doesn't it? But at any rate, we see Ichigo here on the ground, laid out flat. This panel in the manga is really fun because it literally looks like Ichigo just got pounded flat by like a steamroller or something, or like a hydraulic press just stamped him out like a pancake or like a crepe or something like that. So he's just on the ground. Eventually the death dealing hit him. And he's just like, oh, God, it hurts. And so Orihime and Chad rush in, and he's like, guys, stay back. You don't understand. Chad uses Brazo Derecho del Gigante, right arm of the giant. He tries to bring that down. Has this attack ever worked? Seriously, has this attack ever worked? I think it worked on one of the Arankars when they first arrive. Delgora, what was his name? Like, there were those two Arankars, those low-ranking Arankars when they first arrived at Hueco Mundo. There was Ice Ringer, and then there was, I think, it started with a D or something, that big giant dude that Chad and Uryu fought against to kind of showcase their new abilities. I think it worked there, and then Left Arm of the Devil was the finishing move against Gantenbein Mosqueda. Pre-Verona spot at number 107. But, like, has the right arm of the giant ever actually worked outside of just vanquishing, like, low-level hollows? So, we get a great interpretation of Askin's ability here. In the manga, it's just kind of, I think, like a shaded area. Here, it's this, like, bubble of green and kind of, like, iridescent colors around the perimeter where the death dealing is activated. And so Chad immediately begins to feel sick. Orihime drops to the ground and is about to puke. And they begin sweating and just like, oh, what's going on? You can't stand, can you? Well, that's because of my ability, the death dealing. And this specific technique is called Giftobad. I love you, Askin, you sexy French guy. But anyway, entering this pool will not kill you, but it'll make you very weakened. Your defense against any substance I select. So there is a caveat to the death dealing, and there is like a little bit of a downside. It's mentioned that the substance that he chooses that affects people, it can be anything, but he has to have a lot of it in his system in order to make it work. So right now, reishi is what he's designated because obviously your body is full of reishi. Okay, but here's the thing though. Earlier when he used this ability against Nimaya, he mentions that he had to have a lot of blood in his stomach in order to make it work, right? So we see this scene here. Remember back when he was fighting Nimaya, he had to drink a lot of blood. So, question about the death dealing. Is it just in his body, or is it have to be in his stomach specifically? Because he already had a lot of blood in his body. I mean, that's what the body is. It has blood in it. But no, he had to physically take the blood and like drink the blood to get it in his stomach, so then he could use the death dealing for blood. So I guess reishi still doesn't matter because his body's full of reishi, but his body's full of blood as well. So would he have to have he had to eat reishi, but you can't really eat reishi except you kind of can. Whatever, I'm getting off topic. Point is, he has to have a lot of that in his system right now. So the only thing that really works is coffee, because he drank a lot of cafe au lait. So I guess in theory he could use gift bad on coffee, milk, or reishi. Luckily, he chose reishi. It would be so funny if he used coffee. Like, if you have any coffee in your system, it's now deadly. And Chad is like, oh no, why did I have that double espresso before I came up here? You know what I mean? Orihime, did you drink the pumpkin spice latte? I did, Chad. Oh God, no. So yeah, thank God. Orihime's not too basic. She's not going to drink the pumpkin spice. But yeah, that's how his ability works. He has to have a lot of it in his system in order to do it, right? Now, right here, we have Yoruichi showing up. I love this shot. This shot in the manga is so damn cool. And also, it's made very clear here in the anime that Yoruichi is right outside of the gift bad area. So Chad is right in the center because he jumped in, so he's affected by it the most. Orihime and Ichigo are kind of on the outer perimeters, but they're still affected by it. Yoruichi is like right outside of it, okay? And she's just like, oh, hi there. You're another guy that just loves to just brag and, bluster on about your monologues and your abilities and everything like that. And she even gives him a piece of advice. She's like, if you have an ability that lets you just knock out your opponent like instantly, maybe just go over and snap their neck or like strangle them or something. It would be like an instant kill. And then Askin turns around and is just like, oh my God, are you serious? Bambi said the same thing back to me, said the same thing to me a long time ago. So Askin, listen, you got to say one thing about Askin. He's got style, all right? He's not the kind of guy that's just going to be like, I'm going to immobilize you, and then I'm going to go over and just, like, snap your neck and kill you instantly. No, he's like, battles have flair. Battles have style. Now, does this make sense when you're fighting in an army and your goal is to go out and literally murder the Shinigami? Like, that's the job you were given to do? That is literally why Yuha signs your paycheck, is to go do that? No, it doesn't. But Askin does things his own way, and I can respect that, damn it. I can respect the idea that, like, I'm a high-ranking Quincy. I'm part of the Royal Guard. His Majesty gave me the job to eliminate Ichigo, but I'm doing it my own fucking way. I'm not doing it like this, just got to do it in the most optimal, efficient way possible. No, I'm doing it with some pizzazz, because I'm Askin Knackley Var. Ah, man, I love you, Askin. All right. So he's like, yeah, Bambi said the same thing to me. Now you're saying the same thing to me. These beautiful women keep telling me to just murder my enemies right away. It pissed me off back then, and it pisses me off now. So at this point right here, Yoruichi's boobs. Okay. We're going to get a lot of Yoruichi's body in this episode. Don't worry. Hold on. All right. Hold on here. Okay. So he says that it's not even because he views his opponents as like lower than him or anything. It's just like literally it's his own style of fighting. I think it's his way of differentiating himself between all the other Stern Ritter. Probably views them a lot as like barbarians and just going out there and just murdering people with their abilities. And granted, like, look at, like, Stern Ritter R, the Roar, Jerome Geisbad, who just kind of roared and screamed at everything, right? Look at Maste Masculine, who just, got really buff and attacked people. Look at Gerard, who kind of does the same thing. Askin's ability of the death dealing kind of precludes itself to more tactical kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's more elegant. There's more style to it, and that's how he does things. That's Askin right there. All right, and they have a little bit of a conversation about how, like, Yoruichi and Bambi are both very beautiful women, and Yoruichi is like, I don't know who this Bambi person is, but she sounds like a classy lady kind of thing, and Askin agrees. So she goes into full Shunko form. All right, are you ready for Yoruichi's magical girl transformation sequence? Well, actually, I guess it's not really her true magical girl transformation sequence. That's going to be in the next core. That's going to be in core 4. But we get something here where her overshirt kind of gets destroyed by her lightning reishi, and now she's just in this really super tight, sexy leather outfit. We're going to get some shots of it later. You and Bambi are indeed beautiful, but a woman's value isn't not in her looks. It's in her style. Are they stylish or not? That's the real question. So he pulls out his bow, fires it. Yoruichi grabs the arrow and just flings it right back in Askin's freaking shoulder, because Yoruichi is like a ninja. All right, she's a kunoichi and she's going to wreck you. Oh my lord. Oh my god. All right. Here's something I've noticed. You want to know something I've noticed? Well, there's at least 2 things I've noticed. But okay. So I'm going to pull this up here really quick. This is what Yoruichi's Shunko looked like in the manga in the Soul Society arc, right? So back then, when she had a way more side boob, but that's aside the point. So when we look at her Shunko here in her outfit, it seems like just cloth. It just seems like the Shihakusho of the Shinigami. It's like a different shape and, different design because she's a member of the Stealth Corps and all that stuff, and the back is open and everything. It has to be more sexy. But here, it doesn't look like cloth. It literally looks just like skin-tight leather that she's wearing. Which, yeah, let's just roll with that, right? Askin's in for the night of his life, let me tell you. We're in a hurry, so I'm just going to end this. Oh, my God. This Raijin Senkei. Oh, the theme that plays in the background. This little shot here where she takes her hand and is just like moving the hand in an arc around her body and just creating these little lightning orbs, and they make little sound effects like she sets all this shit up and she activates it, and then the theme starts going, and then she strikes the pose, Shunko, Raijin Senkei, and then just electrocutes Askin with 1.21 gigawatts of electricity. Boom! Oh, man. He's He's not the first man to take a full frontal strike from Yoruichi, but he might be the first man to survive a full frontal attack from Yoruichi. Oh, she obliterated the entire fucking battlefield with that attack. There's just one little pillar that she's standing on. Oh my god. You know, Yoruichi. Can we go back a little bit? Let's get sexy Yoruichi. Oh my god, right there. Okay. You know, we haven't seen Yoruichi that much in this arc. Really, honestly, she doesn't really do much of anything. And then, I mean, she does stuff. She collects, like, the interdimensional, like, fluid and everything like that. But this is, like, her just, like, okay, she doesn't do much. She does a little bit with the Soul King. We see a lot more of that in the anime. But then here, she's just like, oh, by the way, Yoruichi's here. Oh, yeah, she's, like, really high level and really badass. Let's see some shit from her. Yeah, here we go. So, cutting back to Gerard, Renji and Byakuya have kind of taken care of him at this point. They've kind of just knocked him down, and we're like, you know, dude, you were outnumbered like 6 or 7 to 1. I don't know if Momo counts. But anyway, how on earth were you hoping to beat us? You know, we had like Kisuke and Byakuya and Renji, who's easily captain level at this point. Rukia, who's also easily captain level. And we had Shinji. Yeah, we had Shinji, Byakuya, and Kisuke at the very least. So that's 3 captains right there, plus Renji and Rukia. And oh yeah, Soifone. I was forgetting Soifone. I always forget Soifone. Yeah, so she's there too. But yeah, now this is the only thing I will say about that is that Gerard is just kind of like, he's bragging about like, if I could defeat you, I guess that would have to be a miracle, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be crazy if I had a miracle? I also love Gerard's teeth. He has like giant teeth in this shot, like, ha 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 ha. You know, so what Byakuya does here is when he's in the middle of his little explanation and he's like, you know, this is when we're about down and out, this is when miracles happen, right? Like he's about to do something, and then Byakuya just shreds him with Senbon Zakura right there. He just like rips up. We're going to see it later. He literally pours Senbon Zakura into the dude's eyes and just carves out his head. And then Momo is just like, did we really need to go that far with this? I love how Momo has her sword and she's like clutching it like Tobe Yume. And she's like, do I need to be part of this? And then meanwhile, Renji and Byakuya are just, die, die, die. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hang out back here. I'm the only one that hasn't gotten shot yet. And Momo, I love Momo, but she is not captain level, okay? She's trying her best. And she does get a shot here. She does get a scene that's pretty cool, but like, yeah. So, you know, Shinji says, hey, idiot, if he was clearly hiding some trump card up his sleeve, we have to do the double tap right now. Unfortunately, they didn't realize the double tap was part of the plan. Now, I will say this. In a world of anime where you never finish off your opponent, there's always the monologue, there's always the moment where you think your opponent is dead and you never make doubly sure. This is like the one time they do make doubly sure. Like, Byakuya doesn't even stop at the double tap. He goes with the triple and quadruple tap. I mean, he's slamming Senbon Zakura. He is carving up Gerard's body bad. Like, Byakuya's like, I have a feeling he wanted me to do that, but whatever. I've already doubled down, you know, sunk cost fallacy on this shit. Boom, 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 and just, like, keeps slamming him with Senbon Zakura. And it's like, we're supposed to think that, like, that's the smart thing to do, but it's the one moment, the one enemy, the one ability in Bleach where doing that is a punishment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would have done this with any other character. They would be truly dead for good. But this is the one opponent where, like, I'm going to make triple, quadruple sure that he's dead. That was the thing that screwed them over. Oh, man. It's like one time I was playing D&D. And we were in this city, and I was like, you know, it's a city, it's rough and tumble, you know, you could get, like, robbed here. So I made a point to say to the DM, hey, I'm gonna, like, go into this alley where we're staying, and I'm gonna hide some money, like behind a brick or under the cobblestone in case we get robbed. At least I know where to find some money later, and I'm gonna roll to, like, hide it. And the DM was like, why? Are you planning on getting robbed? And then I got robbed. So just like, it's like you're setting this up like, I'm gonna make triple sure the enemy's dead. Really? So he has the ability that converts all damage into power. Oh, fucking come on. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he's you know, messed up pretty bad. They start moving on their way. I'm sure nothing negative will come from that. We cut around the battlefield a little bit. Shunsui and Nanao are still on top of the building that looks like a giant slice of pizza. One of those really thin slices of pizza, you know, that like it's the last piece in the box, but that's where they're at right now. The earthquakes are still persisting. They're kind of noticing that all around the Varvelt. We cut to the world of living. We see in the sky the fragments of okay, wait a minute. So is this supposed to be the dimensional rifts? Maybe the right arm of the Soul King's gonna like try to stitch together the fabric of reality then, if that's how this is working. Maybe. I'm not really sure. But we see Yuzu and Karin here. They're at the Kurosaki clinic. Yuzu is freaking out because of the earthquake. Karin is just playing a PlayStation like she doesn't really care. Now, they live in Japan, and Japan is in the Ring of Fire, so, like, a lot of earthquakes do occur there. It would be, like, because I remember reviewing this chapter way back in the day. Like, if an earthquake happened where I live in Pennsylvania, which one did happen here, like, years and years ago, there was a slight earthquake, and I was like, what the hell was that? Was that a damn earthquake? They do happen. They're just very rare. Out west, like in the west coast of the U.S., like California, and then in Japan and every area on the Ring of Fire, it's way more common to encounter like a slight earthquake or tremor. They're usually not that big of a deal, so it's like less of a concern. Although Karin does say that like, wow, this has been going on for a little while here. We see it shaking in Hueco We see the ground beginning to actually rip apart. Yuha is just still taking a nap, so that's good for him. So we have the power of the Mimihage here still kind of like on Ukitake. So I wonder if this is going to like try to stitch together the fabric of reality, but then we see it disperse here. So does that mean the power of the Mimihage is effectively gone? Like, did Ukitake just die? Is that supposed to be what that indicates? Like, the death of Ukitake happened just now? Not really sure. But we get the cutaways. We get Gerard Valkyrie. His script is M, representing the miracle. This ability allows Gerard to transform injuries or defeats into God sides, the divine exchange, exponentially increasing his power with each event. Unlike powers bestowed by Yuha, like those of Lilja and Askin, Pernida and Gerard have abilities that are inherent, making his script a reflection of the strength he naturally possessed. For this reason, he is referred to as the heart of the Soul King, all right? And then we have Sakamune Shihoin Yushiro, my favorite character in Bleach, the younger brother of Shihoin Yoruichi and the 23rd head of the Shihoin family. He serves as the leader of the Stealth Corps. His personality is cheerful and straightforward, with his emotions often easy to read. Despite his appearance, Yushiro possesses a refined combat style by condensing high-density reishi into a cloak over his back known as the Shunko. And in combat against Askanak Levar, he unleashes the enhanced form Shunko Bakuen Muso. And so Yoruichi's is lightning Shunko, Soifon's is a wind Shunko, and Yushiro's is fire or combustion Shunko. Okay, and we're going to see what he's capable of here in a moment. But yeah, we have some earthquakes going on here, and everybody's just kind of looking around. Because Yoruichi seemingly has defeated Askin, the gift bad field disappears for a moment. Yoruichi is just kind of looking over them like, hey, I'll take care of this, don't worry, you guys go on ahead. Orihime uses her Rika in order to heal everybody up. They get up, no problem. Orihime's ability really is like super clutch. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, Ichigo got a hole blasted through his chest. It's okay, Orihime's here. We got poisoned. It's okay, Orihime's here. She is the cleric, and hey, I mean, you're going to bring a cleric into the final battle, you might as well have somebody that can heal, right? So, Ichigo, of course, bids farewell to Yoruichi. Hey, just be careful, you're going to be all right. Hey, who do you think you're talking to, kid? I'll be fine. So, Ichigo, Chad, and Orihime move on to fight against Yuha. And then we have Askin arriving here, and we have a cool shot where Askin's, like, burned flesh begins to, like, all heal up and everything. Well, actually, no, I think that's from the Bakuen Muso later. He just gets electrocuted a little bit here. He gets part of his clothing ripped off. So he's like, His Majesty is going to scold me. Oh, don't worry. He won't be scolded because I will defeat you and Yuha. You know what, Yoruichi? I'm not even shitting you. If you were to defeat Askin and go on to kick Yuha's ass, and the reason that Yuha was defeated was because Yoruichi, I would have taken that over the still silver bullshit. I would have taken that 100% over the still silver. Yoruichi just shows up out of nowhere and just wrecks Yuha's shit. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Why not, right? Anywho. Yeah, so Askin's like, yeah, you used that Raijin Ray something, like Senkei something earlier. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That attack was a headache. It's like, hey, it's Raijin Senkei. No, you're Japanese. And then that's when Yushiro shows up, the younger brother of Yoroichi. Whoa, yeah, this fight was going. I'm telling you what, man, this fight was missing something, and that was the third wheel. Totally. All right, so Yushiro shows up and is like, hey, big sister Yoroichi's ability is Raijin Senkei, and it's super awesome, and it's lightning, and it'll electrocute you, and she's really powerful, and I'll be your opponent now. And Askin is like, what the fuck? Who's this now? Yushiro's like, I've come to reinforce you, because you needed my help, and this is what it said like in the cutaway. He's very straightforward. Hey, sis, I'm here to help you. And Yoroichi's like, ooh, Yushiro. Reinforce, huh? Like, I couldn't handle this on my own, huh? He's like, yeah, sis, it looked like you needed some help. He's so, like, oblivious to reading the room. It just flies a mile over Yushiro's head. He does not understand this. He's like, hey, sister's fighting. I'm gonna help her. I love these shots of Yoroichi here. Oh, they're great. Okay. In the short time I've been away, it looks like you've gotten a little stronger. Yes, sister, thank you for noticing. Like, that was a little bit of a slight. That was kind of Yoroichi being like, don't think you're stronger than me. Don't think you're strong enough to fight him kind of thing. But Yushiro's like, oh, wait a minute. You noticed I got stronger? I love you, sis. You're the best. I'm so happy you noticed. Oh, God, Yushiro is such a damn crybaby. It's okay. He's gonna get punched really hard here in a second. Okay, so anyway, yeah, Askin is like, yeah, okay, I don't know what's going on between you two. I don't know what the situation here is, but do you want to fight me, young lady? And then that's when Yushiro turns around and is like, hey, I'm a boy! And like, oh, okay, sorry. Okay, well then, I guess young man. Oh, boom! And then Yushiro punches him square in the nose, and he just proceeds to beat the shit out of Askin. Now, Askin is a guy, like I said, he loves style, he loves elegance. You know that even while he was facing down the lightning bolt of fucking Zeus being thrown from on high by Yoroichi, he was even kind of like, you know, he's like, oh, okay, at least I'm gonna get shocked by like a very elegant technique. This is just a fucking street fight now. This is no pretense, no nothing. Yushiro just rushes him and just combos. Just boom! Who are you calling weak, huh? Who are you calling weak? Boom! I'm a boy! My name's Yushiro Shihoing, damn it! Bam! Bam! And Askin is like, whoa, okay, hang on a second, kid. Whoa, just pump the brakes a little bit. Damn. All right, I'm sorry. Damn, okay, you're strong. Can we back up a little bit here? Okay, and he's like, I am the 23rd head of the Shihoin family, Sakamune Shihoin Yoroichi, and he uses his Shunko, Bakuen Muso, which is just a giant fuck-off explosion is all it is, right? Oh, man. So, I gotta admit, Yushiro's not one of my favorite characters, but that was a damn cool scene. That was a cool scene, just to have Askin basically get thrown into a bar fight all of a sudden. Like, okay, hold on a minute. And it's Yushiro with the steel folding chair. Like, wait, what? No. There's a whole elegance thing we're supposed to do here. All right, so cutting back to the fight with Gerard, he turns into a giant. Fun fact, back in the manga, he had boots on. Now he has sandals, so you get to see more of his feet. That's cool. At least he keeps his toenails trimmed. I'll say that. He practices good pedicure. Was it manicure or pedicure? Pedicure for the feet, right? Yeah. Anyway, really awesome shot where Gerard just turns into a fucking giant. All right, he's like, fee, fi, fo, fum. You know, we see Hanataro and Rangiku, not a shot we see in the manga. We're just kind of like showing that like everybody, like the animators and the writers here, like know who's available. So Toshiro is there. We don't see him in this episode, but he's around. And Rangiku is also there. Rangiku doesn't really do anything for the rest of the manga. Like, she apparently is there at the Varvelt. I think she might have been there as like part of the group to fight against Gerard. Excuse me. But here they're actually showing her like, yeah, she's probably going to help a little bit with Hineko in the next part of this. So he gets super giant size. He converts all of that damage into size and power. Not just a size increase, and that's not all he got. He also got exponentially stronger with that boost. Because Ryatsu itself, his techniques are all way stronger. The power I've taken is turned into damage. I converted into the god size. And this is the largest he's ever grown with, the onslaught of damage that mostly Byakuya dealt to him. So I feel like Byakuya right now is like, oh man, this is kind of mostly my fault. I mean, Byakuya is Byakuya. He's never gonna like show that on his face. But maybe Byakuya is like, maybe I should have held off a little bit. Maybe it would have been a little smaller, whatever. So he just like, goes all kaiju with it, man. He picks up a giant pillar of a building and just chucks it at everybody. Momo and Shinji got knocked back. And this is where we get a cool scene here. We get Shinji and Momo. They're captain and vice captain of Squad 5. They've been together for at least a few months now, at least a year or so since Shinji became rejoined Squad 5. So they would have like some combo moves together. So some of this stuff is things we mostly see in Fake Karakura. Momo is a Kido expert. So she uses Suri Boshi. That is Bakudo number 37. And this is the net thing that is used during the fight with Ion during the Fake Karakura town arc. So it creates this net around the area, and then she combines Tobayume, which is a Kido like explosive based on Pakto, stabs the net and creates a giant explosion there. And then Shinji does a Hado 91 Senju Koten Taiho with no incantation right in Gerard's face. Now, using his Bankai is not going to be useful in this situation because there's only one of Gerard, and there's more of the Shinigamis. That's not going to help there. His Shikai could definitely help, and I'm sure his Shikai is going to come in play maybe in the next part. But, dude, just using a level 91 Hado is insane. This is the same technique that Kisuke used against Aizen when Aizen was, like, transforming. This is part of the Kido that Urahara used to shoot that ceiling Kido inside of Aizen. He layered that on top of a level 91, and he gave a full incantation then. So Shinji doesn't use that, so it's not as powerful. But it still packs a wallop. He's still getting knocked in the face with level 91. And he just kind of like, roar! And then a giant explosion occurs and everything, and he just knocks everybody back. So it doesn't work too well, but hey, you know what? It was still cool to see Shinji and Momo do a combo attack, way more than they got to do in the manga, you know what I mean? Byakuya sends out Senbon Zakura. And you know what? This is a fun scene where Soifone tries to use Jakuho Raikkoben, and before she can actually fire the missile, she gets hit. Maybe don't scream Jakuho Raikkoben when you're about to use Jakuho Raikkoben. Maybe just launch the missile next time, Soifone. She's like, Jakuho Raikkoben, ah, shit, and then gets hit. Maybe just fire the missile later. Maybe this do that. Dude, getting shot with the missile would have actually probably dealt, like, a decent number of damage. But, like, the more damage you deal to him, just the stronger he gets. So, like, how do you deal with the guy, really? You gotta seal him, or you gotta figure out some other way to, like, maybe diffuse his godly power. Not really sure how you do that without some kind of sword that can diffuse godly power. Maybe Nanao knows something. I don't know. But yeah, I can't wait. You know what? I actually honestly think, because Rukia is present here, and we know Toshiro is going to show up at one point, dude, it would actually be really dope if we saw Rukia and Toshiro do a combo attack together. Toshiro goes into his Bankai, Rukia goes into her Bankai, double the ice powers, and just freezes him up, and that still doesn't work. Like, that would be really cool, right? We all know the fight with Gerard is going to get pretty intense with some Kenpachi and Toshiro action, but that's not going to be until a little later. But we have another fight that's actually going to occur before that. Toshiro doesn't show up here. This would have been the moment in the manga where Toshiro shows up on top of the building and is like, I'm now going to fight you. But no, we got something else planned here. So Rukia and Renji get knocked down, and Gerard has this awesome line. It's probably my favorite line that comes from him. No matter how much you lament, no miracle will be coming for you this day. Cutting back to the fight between Yushiro, Yoruichi, and Askin. It was like, oh, yeah, you did kind of steal my thunder. However, you did it in a fancy way. And Yoruichi does begrudgingly say, I've been gone for like 100 years, and I only recently came back and I taught you Shunko. Like, that Shunko technique that Yushiro just pulled off, the Bakuen Muso, was probably only learned in the last year or so, given that that's when Yoruichi, like, you know, returned from her exile. So the fact he was able to master it to such an extent, that's pretty damn impressive, and so Yoruichi commends him for that. So this is the moment where Askin emerges from the blast, and his body's all charred up, and it begins to heal. You know, oh, you just mastered it recently? Oh, don't tell me that. That makes me feel even worse. But, you know, it's okay. I told you, didn't I? I can control the lethal dosage anytime you do that. So, like, as long as he receives an attack that doesn't outright kill him, which is possible, Kubo does reveal that if he ever fought against Gin, and in a club outside he said this, because somebody questioned, like, you know, his power is the death dealing. What if Gin Ichimaru used Shinso, Kameshini no Yari, God killing spear, on Askin? Would the poison have killed him? And Kubo said that if Askin had never received a sample of Gin's Ryatsu beforehand, then it would have killed him. If he had received an example of the poison beforehand, then he would have been able to survive it. So that's how powerful the death dealing really is. So because this technique did not outright kill him, he was strong enough to resist it. It might have gotten close. It dealt a lot of damage, but it's like, yeah, I don't need to worry about this anymore, because now Yoruichi and Yushiro's Ryatsu will no longer be able to kill me because I've received dosages of each. So I have now immunity to your Ryatsu, basically. You will not be able to leave a scratch on me. Yushiro apparently takes this to be a bluff and just decides, okay, well, I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to punch you. And he goes to punch him, and it doesn't do shit. Like, it doesn't even do any damage this time because he's got the inoculation from it, right? Inoculated! Bakuen Muso! You simply don't get it. I am now invincible. And so Yushiro's like, wait, what? I still don't know how Askin does this. In the manga, it just cuts away to him getting stabbed from above in the spine by 3 arrows. I guess Askin just jumps up really quickly and then shoots the arrows at Yushiro and then moves back to the ground. But it really looks like Askin just walks right by him. So I don't really know how, like, choreographically he does this, but whatever. He stabs Yushiro in the heart. Bye, Yushiro! I said you got punched in the face earlier. Now you get stabbed in the heart. Whatever. Same diff. Okay, so Yoruichi's like, oh, that's not good. This is lethal Yoruichi Shihoing. All right, so the battle is going to be on there. And then final scene of the episode, we cut back between Uryu and Hashwalth. He has a little bit of a hint to his abilities. This is what someone who can't see the scales would see. What do you mean? The time has come to reveal truth and lies, Uryu. If you're here as a successor, then prove it to me. He's clearly a traitor. Okay? He is 100%. You were on the money from day one, Hashwalth. He's clearly a traitor. This fight was going to happen no matter what. All right, and I hope it's way cooler than in the manga here. Prove you're not a traitor. And then at that exact moment, dun 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 dun. Oh, this is awkward. Hey, Uryu. Haven't talked much since that time you blasted a hole in my chest. You know, a couple hours ago. Yeah, how you been, buddy? You know, even though you did betray me a bit, let's go out for drinks. Let's be friends, right? Ishida, Uryu strikes a glare. And then we get the title, The Visible Answer, and then that's the end of the episode. Or is it? Not yet. Because we have a shot here of a graveyard in the world of the living, and we have a simple scene of Ryuken looking at the grave, Akane Katagiri, his wife, and Uryu's mom. And then we have also a shot of Ishin here, who's like in his Shinigami garb, and he's just like, so, ready to head out? Seems like it's almost time. And Ryuken is like, yeah, I don't think Ryuken really says anything, but like, yeah, it's like, yeah, let's go. So already we have more setup here. we have more setup than we had in the manga. They're actually gonna, you know, they're meeting up and they're going to go do something now. So we're gonna see a little bit more of a flashback involving the Ass Wayland in the next episode. But that's the end of the episode here, and the next episode will be the finale of Core 3, My Last Words, episode 40. All right, so I'll be getting that episode out in the that BAN-KAST out in the next couple of days. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will try to keep the Bleach content going. I know I didn't do that so well between 2 and 3, but between 3 and 4, I'll try to keep it up a little bit. But yeah, that's that, and moving on to the season finale. How's it gonna be? well, half of a season finale. We'll get to it when we get to it. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Teching 101 signing out. Make sure to subscribe to BAN-KAST. Check out Spotify and Google Play and the main channel, Teching 101. Later, everyone.